Good evening, everyone. What a way to start off the new year. Tonight, I'd like to welcome you to Chesapeake Public Schools Family Empowerment Webinar presented by the Office of Family and Community Engagement. I'm Lisa Carey, once again, one of the FACE specialists. And joining me tonight is my FACE partner, Laura Lurf. I would also like to acknowledge Andrea Vail under the umbrella of Business and Community Partnerships. Our office seeks to create meaningful partnerships in order to inspire, engage, and empower families, educators, and community agencies to support the mission and initiatives of Chesapeake Public Schools. We are typically available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. and can be reached by direct phone line at 757-482-5923 or by email at face@cpschools.com. And again, that's face@cpschools.com. In the meantime, please check out our website at www.cpschools.com/family-engagement and follow us on our Twitter feed at cpface. At cpsface. Sorry about that. I'm getting tongue-tied this afternoon. We have a few upcoming webinars that may be of interest to you, located here on our screen. We have several of them that we've already done, now available on our CPS YouTube channel. On January 20th, we will have a Meet the Author event with Miranda Middleman from Pause and Think Books. Participants will be entered into a drawing to receive a free autographed book. Additionally, some of our families will be given the opportunity for a live chat with the author and her dog. In recognition of Heart Month in February, we would like families to join us as we Zoom with Zumba, sponsored by the YMCA on February 17th. Make sure you mark your calendars for these exciting events. Our webinars start promptly at 6:30 p.m. Although our webinars are best live, we record most of our videos for future use on our Chesapeake Public Schools YouTube channel. Tonight, we are excited to have you joining us during Literacy Month for tonight's webinar, Free, Tutoring and Educational Resources offered by Chesapeake Public Library, which will be hosted tonight by Mr. Zachary Elder, Assistant Director of Chesapeake Public Libraries, who will be sharing many great resources with us tonight. Thank you, Zach, for joining us. I'd like to go ahead and start off by giving us sharing our agenda for tonight. So we'll start off with tutoring.com so everyone can learn more about how to access tutoring.com. Again, this is a free resource offered to all Chesapeake families. We'll also go into secondary resources that are found on our library website, as well as primary resources, and then additional resources that may be designed just for the entire family, so moms and dads included, followed by a Q&A and a closing. Throughout each section, we will stop and answer any questions you may have. Please place all questions in the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. For this webinar, the chat feature has been disabled. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded for future use on our YouTube channel. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Mr. Elder so that he may share his screen. Welcome, Zach.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm so happy to be here with you all. Let me go ahead and let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the first resource on our agenda, tutor.com. And I'm going to stop your sharing, Lisa, and jump in with mine. And we are going to start here. We're going to start from going, hopefully you were able to see the QR code and go to the chesapeakelibrary.org website. If not, you take a minute and do that right alongside us if you like. And we're going to talk about several resources tonight, but let's start with tutor.com. And we're going to start, there's a couple different ways to get there, but I'm going to start with the easiest. It's right here at this Discover link. And we're just going to start right here and click on tutor.com. Now, you'll often get this pop-up in case you want to unlock extra features. You can create an account, free account with tutor.com. For tonight, I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to go right into the tour of tutor.com. So we have, let me go to this page here. So I'm going to show you kind of a brief tour. And in case you forget anything tonight, you can take this as well. Your button, it'll show up on tutor.com the first time you're taking a look at it. So the first feature that you've got, and possibly the most important one, is that you can connect with a tutor right now. The tutor.com, our subscription works. And again, Lisa titled this webinar great. It's free. You can connect with a tutor from, I believe it's 12 p.m. To midnight, 6 days of the week. So, and if you aren't able to connect with a live tutor, this button will instead direct you how to email a tutor, and it'll also give you the hours and as a reminder that the tutors are available. So they'll find someone to help you in about 60 seconds. It's really, really quick. You can also submit a paper for review. So if you are having problems with writing, or you're just having you want to turn a B paper into an A, you can submit it to drop off an essay from a writing tutor, and they can get back to you within 12 hours. That's amazing. I did not have that when I was in school. You can also drop off a math question, and you can take a practice quiz on different. It's geared towards all sorts of math and reading. And let's see, that video is unavailable. And you can also some other great tools that are available here. For our high school students and for our older students, you can prep for the SAT, ACT exams. That is valuable. They have full practice tests as well as just different tips and tricks to help you assist you in taking those tests. Same thing for grad school tests, the GRE, anything like that. You can prep for AP exams. And then back for our more middle school students and younger, you can watch videos for different math and English concepts. I'm going to click on this just so you can see at least a little bit of one video. And they're really short, less than 2 minutes. Hopefully you can hear that sound.
Zach, we can't hear.
Okay, well, in that case, I won't linger on that. So that is that's most of what you can do here at tutor.com. And there are a lot of different study resources. The one last thing I want to point out on tutor.com is that you can use a couple of mobile companions. If you have what you have as an iPad or iPhone, you can click on that button right there for tutor.com to go. And you can also, there's also a companion one for Android. And yeah, there's a ton of different study resources. There's also career resources as well. This can be useful as well. If you're thinking about what you want to do after school, you can take a look at any of the subjects there. So, for example, there are, you can help parents, this is great for you. You can get help, lessons on helping your children with homework. You can talk about resumes, cover letters, any of those things that you might need to do. And there's all sorts of, again, short videos that will help with those topics as well. So it's not just for students, it's for parents too. All right, that covers in like 60 seconds everything that we would need to do for tutor.com. So I'm going to stop my screen from sharing and go kick it back over to Lisa and Laura.
Thanks, Zach. So it looks like we've got one question so far, and the attendee says, I apologize if I missed this, but is tutor.com available for college students, or is it only for Chesapeake Public School students?
It is available for any Chesapeake Public Library card holder. Students will be able to access this. Of course, every Chesapeake Public School student has access through their student ID as their card number, and then their PIN is their, I believe it's their day and month, month and day birth date. It's 4 digits. And for anybody else, Chesapeake Public Library cardholders of any age can access tutor.com. It makes no difference. And I will add that at this very moment, anyone can be a member of Chesapeake Public Library. You can live in Virginia Beach, you can live in Portsmouth, you can live in Norfolk, you can live in North Carolina and Moyock and come up. We don't care. Anybody can be a member of Chesapeake Public Library. It's just that easy.
Awesome. That is great information, Zach. Thank you very much. So it looks like those are all the questions we have for this section. So we can go ahead and move on to your next segment.
Great. Let me pull up, Laura, remind me what the next segment was what we were gonna cover for the next one in the order.
So next we're going to talk about resources for our secondary students.
Oh, great. Okay. So let me pull that back up. All right. So I'm going to go back and share my screen again. And we are going to go back into the main page of Chesapeake Public Library. So I'm going to take us on a different path this time, but I'm going to use those quick links again. We have resources A to Z, and there's another way to get to them. We also have resources for on our Learn tab here. I want to just share that really quickly. We have resources for different levels of students here. So say we're going to, for middle or high school student, we're going to click on that really fast. All of these are available both places. So I'm going to talk briefly about a couple of resources here. So there are 2 main ebook applications that we use. One is called Libby by Overdrive, and one is called Hoopla. They are both incredibly useful, but they do operate in slightly different ways. So again, both of them are available. All you need is your library card number and that 4-digit PIN, and you're golden. Although for these, it will ask you to download an app for your phone or you can also use a browser on if you're using through a laptop or computer. So Hoopla and Libby are slightly different. With Libby, the way we download books, we own the item as the library, but we have to buy a copy of any ebook we've got. And I'll just pull up libbyapp.com so you see what that looks like. We can pull up a book of anything and say I'm going to do say I'm going to do a high school money book. So I can pull up, so I didn't get any results. But say I want to pull up a book called High School High. So everything you know to do about one world history. I can borrow this, and I'll pull it. You can see my thing here. I can borrow this, and I'll get it for 14 days. And it's really easy. All you do is it's one click, you borrow, and then you can see it on your laptop or book. However, while I have that book, no one else can have that ebook. There are tons of ebooks, there are tons of audiobooks, and there are even actually some really great things on Libby as far as extras. In fact, let me go back to libby.com real quick. So you can see all of the things that we have. There's a special room for teens. There's room for kids and room for teens. And some of our extras are really cool. And I only want to point out one amazing thing here is ArtistWorks. ArtistWorks, you can teach yourself to play an instrument. The teachings are all by experts. and you'll be able to see, you basically hit one button and you get access to all of it. So you could learn to play the piano, you could learn to sing, you could learn to play the cello. Lessons start out easy and get more complex as you go along, and it's all self-paced. So that's another extra that's recently been added to the collection. So in addition to artist works, of course, you have all of the, you have independent movies, which you can sort by ratings. You have Quello concerts, so there are live concerts. I just watched a concert by Miles Davis and a concert by Pharrell on that app not too long ago. So that's libbyapp.com, and that's the browser version. Again, you can download the Android or Apple version and have it on any device. So that's how that works. I want to show you a little bit more about how Hoopla works a little bit differently. Hoopla, as opposed to us owning the item, it works as if when you go to check out the item, it just charges us per use. So that means that if you have an entire class and you're all reading the same book, we can get it on Hoopla, and all students in your class can be using the book at the same time. So that's the main difference between Libby and Hoopla. It also has movies, music, TV shows, as well as comics and ebooks and e-audiobooks. It has all of those things, but again, it's a cost per use and not we buy it and then can loan it out model. So that's the main difference there. And you can, the one other thing I wanted to show you briefly, and that's, again, you can see all of these resources, but since we don't have a whole lot of time tonight, you can see, I'm just going to share Kanopy one more. Kanopy is an amazing service. It has thousands of movies, documentaries, educational films. They have foreign films. They have a ton of things all at once. And again, you just put in your Chesapeake Public Library card number and your PIN, and you get access to all of them. Now, they are rated for the parents that we have in the audience. There is a kids only area. So let me see if I can log in here. That's interesting. Seem to have a problem with that one. But you can see, as we have tons of different movies, documentaries, and things like that. I'm gonna have to see why it didn't automatically log me in. And again, you can also access this from TV, phone or tablet, desktop, laptop, any of that stuff. So you can stream it right to your TV in any different set of ways. And it's very excellent. It's useful all the time, and it can be useful for teachers, parents, and kids. And that's all I've got for the secondary resources. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and toss it back over to Laura for our second set of any questions.
Thanks, Zach. Yes, we do have one right now. Between Hoopla and Libby, does one have a more expansive library than the other one? Is there one that you would recommend over the other one?
I don't have a preference one or the other. I think it depends on what you're searching for. Libby, for example, we don't have as many of our comic books or graphic novels. Hoopla has more of those. If you're looking for books, ebooks or e-audiobooks, I think that Libby probably has more than Hoopla. It's worth downloading both apps and logging into both of them and going back and forth. And like I said, they do have different models. So if there's a book that you are looking for on Libby that we don't have access to, you can request us to purchase a copy. We do, any library user can do that. There's a My Request button on your account. However, on Hoopla, they have everything they have is what they have. And they just charge us a cost per use model. So You just click on it and it charges us after you've used it, basically. So it could have I think Hoopla might have a larger variety of materials, of titles. But with Libby, we own the materials. And so we're paying more on the front end, but we have longer access to it.
Awesome. I think that my request button is a really cool feature too.
Yeah, that's our selectors work really hard, but still the number one number one way we get new materials in the collection is from the public, giving us suggestions and requests. Tell us what you want, and we can get it for you. Especially if it's an ebook or an e-audio book, we can get it very quickly. If it's a print material, we'll still do that, but it takes us probably about 30 days from the time we order to it being on the shelf.
Great information. Thank you very much. All right, so it looks like we don't have any more questions for this section, so we can go ahead and chug along to primary resources for our younger.
Great. Excellent. Okay, so let me get in a good spot here. Let me close some tabs. All right, and share my screen again. Ta-da. Okay. Okay, hopefully you all can see now the elementary school resources. Actually, let me go back a page so you can see how I did that. Elementary school student resources. So we have a ton of different, and again, you'll see some overlap here because there are some things that are great for everyone. There are a couple things here that are incredibly useful, and I want to point out. I want to point out transparent language is incredibly useful here. You can learn to read and speak a new language there's over 100 choices, and it's really easy to use. I really like that a lot. It's a great service, and it's really useful. Really, the KidSpeak transparent languages for older, middle school and beyond, but they also have KidSpeak for elementary and up to middle school students. So both of them are provided by the same provider, and it really is just online classes and lessons. It really just KidSpeak is for younger children, and once you get to about junior high, middle school, high school, then you can switch over to transparent language. That is pretty neat. We also have online encyclopedias, Early World of Learning. So Early World of Learning is, let's see, it provides a bunch of different little sort of stories, games, and other activities related to early literacy. So it's really useful for elementary and basically about the ages of 4 and up. It's really useful for that. And then I also want to share, we have a couple of different things here, but we also have Just for Kids. This is a new resource that we have. This will provide you with, again, this is like, we're talking preschool and elementary, but this will help you access any number of videos. And it could be Sesame Street, Roly Poly Oly. The old Electric Company videos are great. And there's, I don't know if there's History Kids and things like that. There are a bunch of different popular children's shows. You can access all the Reading Rainbow episodes, all of the Berenstain Bears. There's a lot here. And all of these videos that you can access are all available for download. So say you want to load up a tablet before a long car trip or you're traveling, you can do that, and it's really easy to do. And these are all provided by us and the Library of Virginia, which is another great resource. So I want to go back to this tab here and show you. So Galen Context, Just for Kids, and the KidSpeak and transparent language. And again, we already covered tutor.com. So so Read It is also useful. It has really bite-sized literacy lessons. So, the little very early chapter books, picture books, those are really useful for that one. What I will also show you is we're going to go up here to Discover, and we're going to go to Resources A to Z. And this is actually the way I like to find all of these, because this just puts them all. Maybe this is too librarian of me, but all of them are, all the resources we talked about are all in alphabetical order here. And there is one more resource here that I want to talk about. This one is geared towards kids starting at the age of 2, but carrying through to the age of about 8. It's called ABC Mouse. A lot of parents are familiar with this, and they might already have a access to this program. But in fact, I think I'm already logged in on another browser. But let's see. ABC Mouse provides all sorts of games. It provides lesson plans that you can build as a parent. It provides, everything is all geared towards the kids having fun while, and not even realizing that they're learning. And again, all of these games are all available on a tablet, on a touchscreen. It comes with fun sounds and music and all of these things. And I don't want to log in here, but I'm going to try to log in from my other browser. So pardon me while I do that. And we'll do it this way.
Zach, can I throw a question at you while we're doing that?
Go for it. Yeah.
So someone wants to know, how young do you issue library cards? How young does it, or how old does a child have to be to get a library card?
So a parent can sign their child up for a library card at any time. Doesn't matter how old they are. I think, and it's really up to the parent. We offer youth cards that are sort of just starting out, for kids just starting out, and they are 5 items at a time. And your school cards are 5 items at a time as well. But of course, all the resources we're talking about today are online resources. There's no limit to the use of those. So parents can also upgrade their child to a regular card, and that's up to 30 items out checked out at any time. I do want to share with parents and families that something else that we've changed within the past year is we've removed library fines. We find that it burdens families, especially families that might not be able to afford them, and prevents them from using the library. And it's more harm than it's worth. So we no longer are charging fines. Now, if you keep an item out, I believe it's 30 days overdue, then it converts into a lost item, and then you have to bring that item back, and or you get charged for it. But we do not charge overdue fines any longer, because it's so that's an extra benefit to all of our families, because you're not going to, when your child leaves a book underneath the car seat or something like that, you're not going to remember it. It's okay. It's fine. We will figure it out.
And we appreciate your understanding with that.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear the sounds, but I will. But I will point out a few of the. It makes really loud sounds when I mouse over it. But there is a learning path for parents. There is a classroom. There's a map that basically it's designed for kids to do everything sort of on their own. However, the parents can help create the learning path. And there's all sorts of fun activities. And there's lots of games.
Zach, we're still on the login screen. Are you showing another screen?
Let me go to let me change my screen sharing here. I am on. Sorry about that. Can you guys see the screen with a farmer on it now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's go back. So let me go back. So this is the main screen for all of the ABC Mouse games. And there's a zoo, farm, there's all sorts of different things going on. So if we click on the zoo, we'll be able to see all sorts of games and activities. And you can see all of the different, you can do paint by numbers. It's designed to educate and entertain. We think the ABC Mouse thinks this is important to, of course, they're both equally important. So, so this is a really useful activity. And again, I want to emphasize everything is free. So that's all I've got for my primary resources right now that we're going to cover tonight. So I'm going to stop sharing and see if there's another round of questions.
Yeah, we've got another one about library cards. Are you able to sign up for a library card online, or do you have to go in person?
The answer is yes. So you can sign up for a library card, and let me share my screen again. So you sign up for a library card. Let me go there right now. I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So from ChesapeakeLibrary.org, you can go to library card and just hit apply now. And you can register, you would register right here, register for library account using an email address. Now you fill out the first part online, and then you can come into the branch with a photo ID to pick up your card. And if you, we also offer an e-card that's only the online resources that I'm covering tonight. And that you can actually contact us over the phone and get your number and PIN over the phone in case you are not feeling comfortable coming back to the library for COVID reasons, or maybe you have accessibility issues, transportation issues. You're free to do that as well. And I do want to emphasize that again, every Chesapeake Public Library School, every Chesapeake Public School student already has a library card automatically. That card is your student ID, is the card number, and then the 4-digit PIN is the day, month of your birthday, of the student's birthday.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Zach. We have another question. This one's going back to the tutor.com resource that you talked about at the beginning. How long are the live tutoring sessions?
About a half hour to 45 minutes. It really depends on what the need is of the student. But they can go, I have seen them go as long as an hour. But they're about 30 minutes to an hour. But sometimes if it's a really quick lesson and the student picks up on it right away, then it lasts short enough. But the tutors are good about working with it until the student feels like they've got what they were looking for, feels like they've learned that concept.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So I think our last section for tonight is any additional resources that you want to share, including the Imagination Library. Yeah.
So this is a great resource that I'm going to talk about briefly, but I'm going to talk about, and I'll just keep sharing the screen. This one is actually provided to us by the Chesapeake Public Library Foundation. And I want to thank them and acknowledge how awesome that they are, because this is an amazing service. So I'm going to go to their website really quickly. And so the Chesapeake Public Library Foundation helps support the libraries by funding things and volunteering, by supporting us. They're a really great organization. Their big project right now for the last year has been the Imagination Library. So Dolly Parton, for those of you who might not know what the Imagination Library is all about, Dolly Parton did not grow up with having books in her house as a kid. She grew up very, very poor. And so when she, started, became famous, she really wanted to start this charity to make sure that every kid had access to a library at home and could read books together. Parents could read books to their child. and kids could grow and early literacy could happen. And so the Imagination Library is a book gifting program. It mails free books to children from birth to age 5. Doesn't matter family income, doesn't matter anybody. So since Chesapeake's Foundation sponsors this, and this is available to any child in the city of Chesapeake, any child from birth to 5. You could be in the delivery room at Chesapeake Regional Hospital. Once you get that social security number, you could fill out the application for Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And the goal is really that a child gets a book a month until their 5th birthday, and they have a full library by the time they're 5 years old and hitting kindergarten. The goal is so that every child is ready to read when kindergarten comes about. So it's a really, really wonderful program that she's got. And it's really, really wonderful to talk that the foundation is sponsoring it for us. There are already 2,700 Chesapeake kids in this program, and we just started last April. And so it's really great. We are the books are pretty much free. What my librarians take care of is the mastery of the mailing list, and we the foundation pays for the shipping and handling of the items, basically. So obviously, I think all the parents on here know it's how important reading to your kids is, and this enables anyone to do it. So please share this with other folks that might have kids that aren't quite 5 years old and live in Chesapeake. That would be really important for us. That's Dolly Parton Imagination Library. How do you sign up for Dolly Parton Imagination Library? I will show you. So really, you can just Google it and check your availability. So all you need to do is say, yep, we're in the United States, put in your zip code, and check. And then you hit continue, and that starts the registration process. You can sign up a child. You agree to all of these things here, and that's it. But you can do it online. We also have paper applications in English and Spanish at every single one of our library locations. So I hope that makes it I love that one. It's my favorite one. I always like to go with that last. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so y'all can see if we have any other questions or.
Well, first I have to say that as the mother of a 3-year-old who, number 1, loves books, and number 2, loves checking the mail, we have the Imagination Library, and we absolutely love it at our house. So the question, and I'll let you answer this, Zach, because you're the expert, but do you need a library card for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to join?
You do not. It is available to any child. Of course, we want to see you come in the library. Of course, we want to see those bright and shining kids' faces in the library. But you do not have to be a library card holder. You just have to be a resident of Chesapeake. And the child has to be 5 years old or under. And it does take about a month to 6 weeks to get your first book, depending on when you register. So if that kid is approaching their 5th birthday, you might not want to sign them up at that point. If they're like 4 years old and 10 months or 11 months, then you might not want to sign them up. They'll because that first book will be their last book. But yes, any young children we want to have signed up for the library, for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. It's a great way to start kids getting involved and coming to the library.
Absolutely, I agree. And so, Zach, Chesapeake Public Schools has such a great partnership with the library. So can you tell everyone watching tonight, how can they find out about all of the awesome events that all of the libraries have to offer? What's the best way to see all of your events and things going on?
That's an awesome question. Let me check that, show you how to do that. And I will, there are a couple different ways. If you're signed up for the library, for a library card, and you're getting our email newsletter, that's one way. We try not to spam you with that too often, but once a month you should see things that are happening at the library, and also any new services or new databases that we're putting out there. Let me go to my share screen to show you the other way, however. So.
And Zach,
Okay.
while you're doing that, I'm going to ask one question that we have come in the Imagination Library. We've got a military family, and so if they are moving soon to a different state, should they cancel their account, or how should that work for them?
The parent. So when you sign up for the Imagination Library, you get you put in your email, and I think you get an account and password, so you can update your address for the place you're moving to, and if the area you're moving to also has it, then it will continue. But not everywhere has the Imagination Library. We are the only ones in Hampton Roads right now that have the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. But if, for instance, there are some state libraries like Tennessee and North Carolina where the entire state is paid for. And so anywhere you move in that state would be great. So, I'm not going to say do it, but go ahead and tell your legislators that Virginia, whole state of Virginia needs the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. But hopefully that will help military families and folks who move around quite frequently to continue getting that great service. Let's see, let's go back to how to find out about our events. So talked about our newsletter, our email newsletter, but also on our webpage here, you can see that we have a calendar and you can view all of the events that we have going on. Now, you can change the date range. I can go through and say, whoops. So you can see events. You can filter by the location, by the age group, or you can search if you know the event you're looking for. You can put a lot of those in. Now, we did, because of the Omicron variant, we have suspended just for January some of our family story times. We're hoping we'll be able to continue those again in February. But we've kept up things like our art exhibits and some of our other adult programming, depending on, so you can see the events there. But we have a ton of events planned in February, March, throughout the spring. And of course, everybody gears up for summer reading. We all love that when it starts in June, July.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach. Are there any other resources or any last things that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we've got about a little bit of time left, so I'm going to share one that I have in my back pocket, and this one is for parents. This one is for parents. So we've all made New Year's resolutions, and we've all, lots of us have those New Year's resolutions to have new skills. Some parents know about LinkedIn Learning. Some parents know about LinkedIn Premium and things like that. We offer LinkedIn Learning for free so you can choose from thousands of online courses to learn sort of in-demand skills. Like say you want to change jobs, say you want to get better at your current job, say you want to learn any of these things, you can always get started. Let's see. So this one I'm going to have to, let's see, am I sharing my screen right now? Let's see.
Not yet.
Yeah, let me share my screen in Chrome and go to, close that pop-up. So LinkedIn Learning, and right now we're featuring this on our homepage, so it's displayed right across the front of our homepage. So we can, just gonna log in here real quick, and you guys can see this one's for parents, but you can look for any skill. You can browse business, creative, technology. If you want to learn a new programming language, it's here. If you want to learn more about spreadsheet or data analysis, it's here. If you want to learn about cybersecurity, that's here. So we have, I really enjoy learning. I need to learn more about the soft skills, and so how to communicate. And clearly you're 45 minutes into this presentation with me, so maybe I need to learn more about my interpersonal communication at this point. So, but there's all sorts of different tens of thousands of lessons to learn on LinkedIn Learning, and it's all completely free. And that's a great one for the parents. And that is it. That's all I will share for this evening. Check out the online resources at the Chesapeake Public Library, and you'll find something new regardless of your age.
Thank you so much, Zach. We really appreciate you sharing all of these resources. We think that you are a great communicator, and we really appreciate you being here tonight. This is a last call for any last questions that you may have, but I'm not seeing any at this time, so I will go ahead and turn it back over to Lisa.
Thank you so much, Laura. And I'm going to share one last screen. And this is our contact information for the library. And I just want to take this time to actually thank Mr. Elder for his wealth of knowledge. Remember, the library is full of valuable information and events. So make sure you check out the library's website for events offered throughout the year. If you need further information or need help with logging into your account, as Zach already stated, please contact your closest library branch. And I've listed those branches here on our screen. Additionally, if you or someone you know has an organization, or you would like to volunteer your time with helping children with tutoring and homework help, please reach out to Ms. Kirsten Winslow. She can be reached at 757-410-7100. And I have that number also listed on the screen. And her email address is kwinslow@infopeak.com. Mr. Elder, thank you so much again, and I greatly appreciate this. Thank you everyone for your attendance tonight. And please remember to follow us on Twitter at CPS Space. Remember, families and communities work better together. Have a great evening.